y'all ready for this? I'm not. Hey, what's going on?
Hey,
it's Jon Does, and this time
Pat also does.
Jon Does. Pat.
No, that's a different movie. Different video.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jon. This is Jon Does. Real quick, before we get into everything, check out wilddinosaur.com. It's the best place to support the channel. There are all kinds of cool stuff. I got this new tote bag. Well, I got some new ones, but the other one's in the car. This one's pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
I like these tote bags because they're canvas.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, and you get to choose the color of the straps, the handles. There's yellow, red, and black. And
red looks pretty nice with that bag.
Yeah. The other one I got is the what's the name? It's this. I always forget the name. Is this image? That one?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But with yellow handles. It looks great. Anyhow, so yeah, check out wilddinosaur.com. That is the best place to support this channel financially.
It might just be the best place on the internet.
It might be. There's some pretty great music videos listed there too. There's also links to where you can stream my music, and Pat and I have some music that we've done. We go by New Pants, and you can find all that stuff there. Yeah. So, Pat, I didn't tell you this, but I'm gonna be working on, or I'm gonna try to work on, our final New Pants track pretty soon. I always tell people final New Pants, and then I had an idea that maybe we do an episode where New Pants breaks up.
Yeah, I heard you mention that. I saw. I was watching that video.
Watch a band break up in real time.
I'm done with you.
I'm sick of this shit.
I fed up with this world.
Look, you wouldn't learn to play oboe. I'm out.
It needs to be like some sort of like overly dramatic Tommy Wiseau. Like just, you take me apart, Jon.
You're tearing my eardrums apart.
And then I'm going to ditch from a plane going Mach 10. You know, because you've broken my heart that badly.
Go all Tom Cruise on us.
Pure Tom Cruise.
And then
become like a major player in the Scientology community.
You're so over being a New Pants. You're just gonna go back to the Navy.
I'm just gonna put my old pants back on.
These ones have holes.
I'm too depressed to care.
So I have a couple of things that we should talk about. I wanted to ask you about Sandman, and I wanted us to talk about another show that both of us really like. But first, I was gonna ask you this in the car, but I kind of wanted to. We went and got Taco Bell earlier, but I was gonna ask you: have you been listening to anything new or watching anything new that you want to recommend? At all?
Yeah, I'm thinking it. Yeah.
Nothing. No, I mean, no.
Let me think about it. But yeah, I'm sure I have. Anything I want to recommend? That's a good question.
Yeah, because last week I did a couple. Was it earlier this week? Actually, I did a couple of like music episodes. I talked about like The Garden has some new music, and Panda Bear, and just some other stuff. And that video we were watching, the Strutting video. Yeah, I recommended that one. You got any like one-hit wonders like that? Or they're not one-hit wonders, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot new right now.
Okay, that's fine. No worries.
Let me think about it, though.
Well, I mean, you don't need to think too hard. It's just, have you heard anything new that you liked or seen anything
I have been watching a new show on Apple Plus, and that is 5 Days at the Memorial. It's a show. It's like a dramatic retelling of a hospital in New Orleans right after Katrina hits.
Okay.
And it's pretty dramatic. I mean, it's what you would expect, but it's pretty insane too. Like what they had to deal with the hurricane itself. You know, wasn't that bad. I think overall people were like, oh, you know, the major part of the storm missed the city, and like we eked that one out. And it's like, nah. After those two levees failed, like the two major levees in the city, and a ton of water came at him. I think what they were saying at the hospital
Why
was
didn't
like
they just use twirly straws?
they should have.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, but I guess 4 feet of water would have taken out the backup generators, and the city power was completely out. So this is like backup generators that are generating, life-saving mechanisms like ventilators.
Yeah.
The incubators for premature babies and stuff.
Sex toys and stuff like that too.
It's a pretty gnarly show. There's like one part where they're not even sure if the helipad's gonna work because it's in the show 2005, and they say that they haven't used the helipad since '87 when the Pope came to New Orleans.
Wow,
it's all rickety and
so sorry, what was it called?
5 days at the memorial.
On Apple?
Yeah.
Apple's doing some interesting stuff. It's starting to take shape as one of those like premium streaming services, it feels like.
It is. Yeah, they don't have a whole lot of content quite yet, but what they do have is like pretty high budget.
Yeah, they don't have a lot, but they kind of feel like how HBO used to feel like way back in the day.
Agreed,
when they were still like when it was still home box office instead of just another like channel. Even though HBO still has a ton of high quality stuff.
I've seen some Ted Lasso, and that's fantastic.
I watched when I don't have Apple right now, but I did for like a year when I bought my Apple TV. They gave me like a year subscription, and we both watched Mythic Quest, which is probably my favorite thing from Apple Plus so far.
Yeah, I think I still have I think I got 2 free years when I bought my Apple TV because I'm still not paying for it.
Yeah. Well, didn't you have one and then buy another one?
I had an Apple TV previously, and then I bought a new one.
And gave the old one to your brother.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So maybe it's just like a rollover thing from that. I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah, there's been some good stuff. And when they still didn't have a ton of content on there, I watched, there was a Tom Hanks movie where it was a World War II movie where he's like being hunted by a German submarine.
I remember seeing that on there.
It was pretty good actually. I can't remember the name of it, but it was pretty entertaining. I like that one. I go back and forth every once in a while. Like there was like decades of my life where I'm like, fuck World War II movies. Like all I've ever seen my whole life is World War II movies and World War II like media, and like it was prominent in our recent history, like relatively recent history. And so I was just like fucking done with it.
Yeah.
But now I kind of get excited when I see some stuff. Actually, there was this isn't World War II related. Real quick, did you see? I talked about it. Was it yesterday or the day before? There's a movie coming out with Zac Efron called The Greatest Beer Run Ever. It's based on a true story.
I haven't seen it.
It looks really good. It's one of the Farrelly brothers.
Nice.
Directed it, and it's a true story about I think he's from Boston, this dude from Boston during Vietnam, who's like when they show him the beginning of the trailer, he's like sleeping till like noon. His dad's kind of like, what the hell are you doing with your life type stuff, and he goes and he's drinking at a bar. Bill Murray's the bartender, and they're all just drinking, talking about like the war going on, and Bill Murray's like, I wish I could go give those boys a beer, just to tell them like we're supporting them or whatever. And Zac Efron's character's like, I'll do it. And so he goes to Vietnam and like passes out beer to the soldiers.
That's
and
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's based off a biography, and it's coming to Apple Plus, I think.
Nice. All right.
Was it the 30th? I might have that wrong, but I want to say I remembered it saying.
I'll keep an eye out there.
I think it's going to be in theaters for a short run and also on Apple Plus. But nice. It looks pretty good, and I'm more on board with Zac Efron these days than. I mean, I've not really cared, honestly. All I knew was High School Musical and then like the Neighbors movies. When
I think I've been a fan since I saw him in that first Neighbors movie.
I don't even think I've seen one of those movies all the way through, but I've seen like the really funny parts of them. Like I think you and a couple other people showed me like the Dave Franco scene.
Yeah.
Is that the second one?
No, well, I've only seen the first one.
Oh, okay.
Actually, maybe I have seen the second one with what's her name, Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh, right, yeah. I think I saw parts of that too.
Yeah, but they're both funny, but just the first one worked better. As comedies typically do. Sometimes comedy sequels in general can be difficult.
Yeah,
but especially comedies, where you have one premise that's original, it's new, it's fresh, and then you put out a sequel, and it's like, all right, we've been here before. You always run that risk.
So, just to kind of move along a little bit, you watched something recently that I've already talked about on the show a bit, but did you finish Sandman?
I did, yeah. I finished Sandman last weekend.
Tell me what you thought about it.
Okay, at first I thought it was a little cheesy, to be perfectly frank. I felt like it was something like like Doctor Who meets like fantasy. Yeah, I don't know, just something like that. Like, number one, the show feels very British. Like, if you're familiar with British television, if you guys watch a lot of British TV, you'll definitely you feel at home with the Sandman. But as the show progressed, it grew more and more on me. Like, I really enjoyed that episode. I believe it's like episode 4 with like the diner.
The diner.
And there's really another episode later on with like
with death.
That one's good too.
That one I really like that.
The one where he keeps meeting up with that guy.
Oh, that one's really good.
I
loved that episode. Yeah. That was really good. Yeah, there was a lot of really great episodes.
Almost like bottle episodes, but they're really good.
It's something. It's like I don't remember.
Yeah, so like his friend throughout the ages is this like immortal friend that he has. I don't know. The show's it was just a lot of fun, ultimately.
Hob. That was his name. Hob. Yeah. Anyways, so you liked the show. It wasn't too like whimsical or anything for you?
I didn't think so.
I mean, it started off, you kind of alluded to it, kind of felt a little bit too fantasy in the beginning.
I suppose so. Yeah.
Just when you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't quite what I was expecting at first, but the more I watched it, the more it grew on me, and I really I actually liked the ultimate story. With the, I don't want to give too much away or anything, but
yeah, we'll stay clear of too many spoilers.
But like with the story of the girl and her family,
Rose.
Yeah.
That stuff was pretty good. I thought most of the acting was pretty good. The casting in that show I thought was like pretty phenomenal. The one thing that didn't really work for me was Patton Oswalt, and it's not because I don't like Patton Oswalt or anything like that.
Fantastic.
His voice felt a little bit stale to everything else going on around.
Agreed. Also, you have pretty much, aside from Rose's family, like the entire rest of the cast are British.
Mm-hmm.
Except,
well, I mean, this whole the Sandman is a Neil Gaiman story, graphic novel, and actually they were all short stories that were like put together, which is why it works well in the episodic format, because that's where you get the like diner episode, then the death episode, and because they're like short stories.
And you were saying that that show Lucifer,
yeah,
based on the Sandman.
So, not. If you know the Sandman story, you are aware of what's going to happen, and even if you haven't seen the show. But the ending of the show with Lucifer is in Sandman, and they cast Gwendolyn Christie as Lucifer, who I thought did a really great job. I'm a fan of her.
That episode was fun too.
Yeah, because she's not in it a lot, but they did kind of advertise her in it a bit. But I do think the future seasons, if they happen, will probably include more of her. Because the show Lucifer that had been on TV for, I don't know, 7 seasons or something like that, got canceled, and Netflix picked it up for like another season or 2 or something like that. That is a spin-off from the Sandman stuff, story arc. And so I'm curious to see if they're going to do any of that, basically that show's premise is Lucifer comes to leaves hell and comes to Earth, and like becomes like hangs out with a detective, basically.
That's usually how those shows go.
It's the DC property, so you got to throw a detective in there.
Yeah.
You know, those detective comics. What did you think about? Well, they weren't in it much, but actually, there's two people I want to ask you about. Desire. That was one of the siblings.
Yeah.
Definitely not in it very much, but I thought like stole scenes when they were there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it also feels like Desire may be like the overarching villain.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And the only other property I know this person from, Boyd Holbrook, is from Logan, the movie Logan.
He was in the first couple seasons of Narcos.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Narcos stuff. Here it's great though. But I really liked him as the Corinthian. I thought he was really creepy. Oh, that's another episode that's really good. Is the serial killer convention.
Yes, I was going to mention that one. Yeah.
So good.
It was.
Did you recognize the dude that wore the Mickey Mouse ears? He looked he's a little chubbier.
What was he from?
So
he looked familiar.
He was in that show Wasted. Do you remember Wasted at BBC show where he has
he's the one that has the
Sean Bean as his imaginary friend, and it's really Sean Bean.
Yeah.
I wish that show got like one more season, but and then he was a Stark soldier in one of the Game of Thrones seasons. He had like a speaking line.
He kind of reminded me a little bit of what's his name? He just got married to Kirsten Dunst. Jesse Plemons?
Oh, Colin Jost.
I think
wrong
Jesse
person.
Plemons?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. He's like a chubbier version of...
Oh, yeah, I can see that. So, hold on. I'm gonna do this for you. What is your ranking here on the Smelly Pit meter? From 1 to 5 smelly pits, what do you give Sandman?
I give it a 4.
You give
Solid
it a 4?
Yeah.
Solid 4? Okay.
I like the graphic. You haven't seen that one yet.
I've had it for a couple of days, or for actually like a week or two, and I just like don't really use it. And then I think I used it yesterday for the first time.
Nice.
So Pat gives Sandman 4 smelly pits. I give it probably a 4.5.
I mean, I could be persuaded.
No. Don't be persuaded. Have your opinions. Have your opinions.
I
and
give
eat
it a
too.
solid 4 though, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I'm in the same camp. Strong 4.5. And that's also because, like, you know, I don't know the source material very much.
I'm also completely unfamiliar with the source material, but the show I enjoyed quite a bit. Maybe if I was familiar with the source material, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. Who knows?
You know, it's very difficult to appease the comic fandom and a lot of people who like grew up because Sandman came out in the 80s. And like a lot of people grew up like reading Sandman and listening to like The Cure and stuff like that. A lot of like goth kids. Not to generalize, but like that was a big like demographic.
Well, the main character Dream, he could easily be
absolutely.
like front one of those bands.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a lot of people have like such an attachment to this material, like very cult-like attachment to it, and a lot of people really like, even a lot of the fans really like the show. They're like, for all the things that it got wrong, it did everything else but like so good that it's getting high praise from a lot of people.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And I was surprised to hear that I wasn't the only one that my only big complaint is the like, and it's not a big complaint, it's just but the Patton Oswalt voice thing.
Yeah.
They could have cast somebody else and I would have been fine with it.
It did feel a little miscast.
It just felt like, to me, slightly out of place with everything else going on. Mm-hmm. It was like his character is like the schlocky guy character, but there wasn't a schlocky guy character there. It was just a crow or a raven. Yeah, I don't know. It felt a little bit weird, but so Pat gives Sandman 4
smelly pits.
4 smelly pits. Hell yeah. All right. one more. Oh shoot! I keep forgetting to put my graphics up. There's one other thing I want to talk about before we do a commercial break. We'll vamp on this for like 10 minutes. I brought this up briefly because I was talking about my hair and how I have hair heroes, and one of them is an actor named Paul Kaye, who was on Game of Thrones, who played Thoros of Myr. And I think it was you that's found this show, or no, I
think you found it.
I find most of the shows, but there's been a couple that you've like recommended. That was it. Ghosts. Yeah. You recommended to me. Zapped is this other one, and Pat and I both really liked Zapped. It's not like the greatest TV show of all time or anything.
Far from
that, but it's super silly. It's a BBC comedy, fantasy comedy. And if you can see the poster there right in the middle, what's his name?
Brian. Yeah.
This main character, Brian, he's just a guy that works at like some corporation and gets a package in the mail one day, and it's like an amulet that takes him to this other world. And it was literally like I don't know if you remember, but the explanation on that was just the wrong address.
It's really like I love it because it's like the flimsiest premise.
It's so flimsy.
Yeah, a lot. It seems like a lot of these BBC or British comedies can have like very shaky premises, and it's just like, all right, I'm into it, I'll buy it.
But yeah, it's surrounded by a crew of another great crew of people. I'm pulling this up on my computer so I can see it in large format. But
the hair hero right there.
Yeah, there's two actually in this show. There's Paul Kaye, of course, who, what's his name in the show? It's been a minute since I watched the show. Howell, that's right. And he's a wizard who's like, usually when you have a wizard in a show, they're usually like upstanding like citizens. Yeah. Not to say that they're always good, but like
at least respected.
Yeah, they're like always respected. Even like Sauron, in Lord of the Rings, he was evil, but like he was a highly respected wizard. This dude is just like a snake oil salesman.
Yeah, he's a grifter.
He's a total grifter, and he runs a little potion shop that's basically like, it's an analogy for like that dude sells drugs.
If he was around in modern times, it would be like the proprietor of a pawn shop.
Yeah, for sure.
Like what can I make a buck on? Like something like that.
And then there's what? Do you remember I'm trying to pull up the IMDb.
Oh, I remember their names. Yeah, Harold.
Harold is the
barkeep.
Okay. And he's great. He's like he used to be like a warrior, and he's always talking about the good old days of like being on the battlefield and stuff like that.
Yeah. And he's also the chef.
yeah. One thing that Pat and I always reference from this show is his favorite meal.
Yeah, fried.
Go for it.
Fried grass. That's it. Just fried grass, and it's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, literally fried grass.
Just fried grass.
And then there's Barbara, token female of the show.
And she's great as well.
She is great. I'm not trying to diminish her role or anything.
I actually saw her pop up on a list of like, actors to watch, British actors to watch under 30.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's cool. Sharon Rooney, that's her name. Yeah, Barbara is her name.
And she's like in love with Brian also.
Yeah.
And he just could not care less.
And then over on the far left of the poster is another personal favorite of ours is Steg. This dude, he is his mom was a giant and his dad was a dwarf.
Yeah, something like that.
and yeah, he's another hair hero of mine. He does like I don't even know what to say about it. It's like a punk rock rooster thing, but he's totally bald up top.
It's like a comb up.
Yeah, it's definitely a comb up. But this show's great. It's kind of like even though there's the premise of like this guy from one world ends up in this other like fantasy fictional world, it ended up really becoming kind of like It's Always Sunny, where they're just like hanging out at the bar every day. And like each episode there's another like one-off thing that happens, and it's just them kind of like.
The fairies are good too. They're like the police.
Yeah.
And they're just like these like bigger dudes, but they're
they
have little they have little wigs, like little fairy wigs. It's great.
Actually, both of these guys, this guy Hawthorne that played one of the fairies. Sorry, I'm just looking at the IMDb and showing Pat. I think he was on Plebs. I think he's in an episode of Plebs.
He looks familiar too. Like I've seen him in other stuff before. I mean, I know obviously he's like the head fairy in the show, but he's definitely
been in a handful of other like British comedies I've seen. And then Tony Way, this guy Chestnut. Since I just rewatched Game of Thrones, he was Sir Dantos, who like helped Sansa escape Joffrey into like Littlefinger's arms. He was just a drunk knight, and like the first time you see him, there's like a tournament going on type deal. In the Croatia set, and like Joffrey's trying to like get this fat drunk dude to like basically kill himself, but then he like humiliates him by making him like chug a ton of wine. Do you remember that scene at all? He just makes like a random dude chug wine, and he like starts like puking it up right before he like is supposed to go into battle. Oh, it's really
it sounds familiar. But
yeah, it was really torturous for a scene.
Joffrey is a total asshole.
Yeah. What's his name? Jack something, I can't remember.
I think it's Jack Gleason.
Yeah, Jackie Gleason.
That's how I remembered
Gleason.
it.
Yeah, it was. I always remember it's like something that sounds vaguely close to another huge celebrity.
That's it, Jack Gleason.
Jack Gleason.
He killed it though. Obviously, Joffrey knocked it out of the park.
I think he has started acting again recently, because he after Game of Thrones like quit acting and was he went to school to like be like a linguist. I don't know. He did some like extensive school stuff, which is good for him.
He probably needed to get away for a while after that character.
Yeah, and I'm sure people are like, that guy's probably a huge asshole. Like, he did all this terrible stuff. It's like, yeah, no, that character did it. The actor didn't.
That guy's actually now Andrew Tate.
Oh God. That's an insult to
Jack Gleason.
That's a no name on Jon Does. So Zapped is a silly British comedy, fantasy British comedy. If you're into that kind of stuff, I always appreciate stuff like that. It does have a bit of a Neil Gaiman-y vibe to it, not so like dark or like serious, I guess.
Yeah, more whimsical.
Yeah, it's like a Neil Gaiman, Douglas Adams type feel. I would venture to throw out there. But yeah, you guys should check out Zapped. We watched it on HBO Max, which is where I first saw it, and I was confused because I was like, isn't Zendaya in this? But that's a Disney Channel show that she was on before she got super big. Anything else you want to say about Zapped, Pat?
I think it's great that Brian wears the same clothing the entire show.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, he's like warped into this alternate dimension or whatever that's like medieval times, but he still just rocks his like shirt and tie.
Yeah, and
it gets like progressively dirtier.
Yeah, and then I think it's season 2, somehow Howell ends up like at his office job, and he's wearing like the suit and tie, and then once they do the swap back, Howell gives him the new suit, so it's like the same clothes because they're like the same size. I forgot about that. It was great.
Goofy show, but worth checking out.
All right, well, let's do a commercial break real quick. Sorry, I was... We'll do a commercial break real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll talk to Pat about drugs.
It's what everybody wants to hear.
Yeah, drugs.
You still got pets? They still trying to get married. We got hamsters.
And has work been breathing down your neck?
You got. Consider having a big day.
But you hate it when your friends touch you.
We got chairs.
Try
And crafts.
ecstasy. Sweat the demons out.
We remodeled recently.
And dance your pants off.
I know it works because I'm on it right now.
May cause sweatiness, dry mouth, and erections. Do not buy ecstasy as it is still federally illegal, and Dr. Hiram saying it's not in a...
For your pets.
what doesn't kill you had better start running.
I'm Richard from Richard's Pet Wedding Facilities, and I give these stickers away at every pet wedding. The kids love them too. This bag from, what's his name? Wild Dinosaur? Weren't they all wild? What an oxymoron. Anyways, I like to put my special things in this bag. Plus, I'm pretty sure this is my spirit animal.
Life gave me lemons, so I sold them for this sweet baseball tee. Yeah. I know I had 2 commercials running at the same time. My bad. It's the monitoring on Streamlabs is weird. It's literally like there's monitoring in like on and off, and then like doesn't matter if the monitoring is on and off, it'll still like stream through Streamlabs even if I can't hear it, which is annoying. So you have to just do manual volume control. Sorry about that. I know you like that, Ryan. If you want, I can play all of the commercials I have at the same time, if that works for you. Excuse me, just Taco Bell and this bubbly water. I stopped drinking. Well, I didn't stop drinking, but I haven't been drinking sodas. I've been drinking just bubbly water because my teeth. Just sodas just are eroding my teeth.
You're not only teeth, like sodas have quite a bit of just empty calories as well.
That's really messed up. Empty? What?
Empty as in there's really no nutritional value. You're just
consuming
calories from sugar. Got that Taco Bell GERD going.
Taco Bell GERD. The GERD gang. I hope I don't have GERD, but also wait, which way? There we go. Sorry, I was like wiping my hair the wrong way that I comb it. I don't comb shit. I brush that shit. That's why it's not there anymore up top, because it all ends up in my brush.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
I think you cracked the code.
So, Pat's here today because we're gonna try something a little bit different. Now, I'm kind of a dumbass. I'm not a very smart person, and so that's why I talk mostly about entertainment stuff. That's what I know best. Is I make art and I watch art and talk about it. But Pat's career is Pat works in the pharmaceutical industry. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing that crazy. I just work at a community pharmacy, but I'm also pretty passionate about about following drug prices and trying to get people the best price possible that I can for these overpriced drugs. And they straight up are overpriced as well. It's not like this is an opinion. This is the truth. As Americans, we pay so much more for prescription medications than do any other country. Like literally same exact medications come from the exact same source, same manufacturer, same drug. We pay insanely higher prices. I can give you some examples too. I actually just heard one this morning.
I was actually going to ask you one of the questions I have here. I don't have a whole lot of questions because I was hoping you could just like talk about stuff. But one of the questions, well, actually the first question I have is, how much have you seen prices jump since you started like doing? I know you probably don't have specific examples.
Oh no, I do have some specific examples.
Okay, because you've been doing this for 16 years, right?
Right, 16 years. Yeah. So I saw an increase that like some of these increases are baffling. You'll have one company that'll buy up another company that produces even like a generic medication. It might not even be like a name brand, you know, what used to be referred to as blockbuster drugs. We had like Lipitor, you know, that's like Pfizer, like Lipitor, Viagra. Those were big money makers, and then they went generic, and both pretty the generic like Viagra and like all those ED meds and stuff, you know, those are still like big sellers, and they are still super expensive, but there are ways to get around it, like using like discount cards and stuff. I know a lot of people use like that Good RX. You might have heard of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I've tried to do some research on these discount cards because I never want somebody to be like misled where they think that they're just getting a great price on a med, and it ends up that like the distributor of these discount cards is like getting, you know, kickback. Or I've seen discount cards that'll charge the pharmacy like a $5 dispensing fee just for using the discount card.
Oh, what the hell?
You'll see like a negative amount.
Weird.
Yeah, so like the pharmacy has to pay them $5 or whatever every single time that they run it. So they're just collecting money. And like anybody, dude, it seems like anybody can put out these discount cards too, which is weird.
So what did you see like ED pills, for example, at when you were like first started?
So like when I first started, they were maybe $10 a tablet, which sounds like a lot. I mean, it is a lot. $10 a tablet. Well, by the time right before it went generic, right before the patent expired, it was up to maybe $40, $50 for one pill.
Jeez, that's insane. And
one boner, dude, $50.
Do you blame Martin Shkreli for that?
No, no. Honestly, Martin Shkreli probably is a piece of shit. I mean, he definitely seems like it.
Yeah,
but he was really just like a poster
symptom of a larger problem.
Exactly. Yeah, kind of.
And I think everybody
poster child.
I think everybody got extra pissed off when he just bought that Wu-Tang record.
Yeah, and then wouldn't release it.
Yeah, what an ass. Give us the goods.
I think that was part of it. That was a big part of it. And also, he's just so punchable.
Yeah, definitely. So what other kinds of I mean, ED is an interesting conversation already because, like, you know, we talk about Roe already, you know, like abortions not being acceptable now, and how contraception's like not covered in a lot of places.
Sure.
And stuff like that. But like, you can get boner pills like covered.
No, actually not really.
No?
It is really hard to get ED medication covered by insurance.
Okay.
Most insurance plans, if they do cover it, they'll limit it to like 6 per month.
Oh, okay.
You can have sex 6 times and that's it.
Hell yeah. That's all you need.
I used to have like...
It's a bare minimum. Yeah. It's like conjugal visit.
Yeah, you get 6.
Medically induced conjugal
6 per month.
Visits.
So like, I mean, for years we would just do that. Like, people would be restricted to either 4 or 6 tablets a month. All their insurance would cover. Otherwise, you know, let's be out $100, $200 for 6 more tablets or whatever it was. Like, just insane prices.
That's crazy.
But one good thing that came out of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, was most contraception for females is covered 100%.
Okay. It wasn't for a long time though, right? And I think
it wasn't for a long time.
And then
that's true.
And it's still not under like religious.
Yeah, you can have like religious.
Institution.
I've seen examples where somebody works for like a Catholic school or something that. You know, like a teacher at a Catholic school, and they won't cover it. Which is ridiculous.
It is
Come
ridiculous.
on, dude. It's 2022. I know. I'm sure. I don't know what the Catholic Church's stance on contraception is anymore. I know it used to just be like you have to use like.
I know what the priests might have to say about it.
Jeez. But I know that, like, you know, it used to be you had to use the old method of like
pull out.
No, not that. No, just like the timing for women.
But
you can still. That's not 100%.
It's like the pull out method.
Yeah,
it really is. It's like, well, I pulled out, so there's no way. It's like, no, there's a couple of ways still.
Right. The way that I plan my contraception is by the phases of the moon. Something like that. But
the way I plan my contraception is just don't go outside. Because then people don't want to have sex with you.
Can't have sex with you if they can't see you.
Yeah, filthy heathen. Why is all your hair in your brush? Hey, Naomi. Scotland made female contraception free for everybody. How do you feel about the policies like that being implemented here? I think it's something that we should be doing here. I'm one of the people that very much was not okay with the Roe repealing, and I absolutely think contraception should be covered.
It 100% should be.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it not to be. It should be universal. Well, number one, healthcare should be universal.
Yes. And
Like,
it should,
we could break all this stuff down and just say that everything should be covered.
it shouldn't be covered by your job.
It should be covered by the U.S. government, taxpayer money.
Yeah.
This is just straight up facts. Like, this is what it should be. There's no other way. You can try to go around it, and this is what happened with the Affordable Care Act. This is why, in my opinion, it was not successful. It gave even more power to the insurance providers, which, are just giant corporations.
Yeah, they're just trying to make money.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
I mean, insurance in general is just the oldest grift. One of the oldest.
Yeah.
There might be a few more that I'm overlooking, but that is certainly one of them.
Insurance and, I don't know, the female orgasm. Biggest hoaxes in history. I'm just totally kidding.
Well, biggest grift, but not that.
Women have been taking us for all of our semen. We need to talk about what we do in the shadows one of these days, because there's some new ones, but they keep bringing up the whole like the witches abducting men for their semen. Like, it's one of my favorite recurring jokes on that show. It's so good. So do you deal with drug reps in your job at all?
Not so much anymore. It used to be the Wild West, though. I remember working with pharmacists that would get like kickbacks where they would. One of them went to like the Spice Girls reunion concert, and he was all about it. Too.
Yeah, let's go, baby Spice,
and stuff like that, dude. Like this is when I was living in San Diego, so it was like San Diego Chargers tickets and just like all this expensive stuff.
It was like payola.
It was like realistically, how much influence does a pharmacist even have in like pushing a drug? Probably not that much.
Yeah.
A doctor I think it's still more prevalent at doctors' offices.
I think they're like, well, pharmacists and doctors are friends.
Yeah, that's true.
So they'll be like, hey, push this. But
yeah, right. Like if you have to get a medication changed or something like that. You could.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it used to be like all sorts of freebies. I remember getting like the
pizza parties,
the Mucinex. I wish I still had this, but it was like a Mucinex keychain, and it was like a plastic nose, a rubber nose, and if you pushed it, like a booger came out. It was like those like sticky hands. Yeah, something like that.
Hey, can you hand me that mug over there with the pens in it? There's something in here that I have that is from
a drug rep.
Yeah. Oh, will you move that light back? Sorry.
No, looking good.
Is it in here? It should be in. Yeah, it's right here. I got this at. Sorry, throw that back over there. I got this at the TV station I worked at, the first TV station I worked at in Chico, and it was swag, but it was from a drug rep. It was from Levitra. And I'll hold this up for the audience to see. Let's see if this will autofocus. No, autofocus. Oh well. Yeah, my focus. Oh, it's because the camera. Loosen that shut up too. Come on, autofocus, man. That's why that's why I bought this camera. But it's a Levitra pen, and the best part about it. Oh, did it autofocus there at the end? Yeah, asshole.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a boner pill, right?
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. Vardenafil.
Is that the?
That's the
scientific name.
That's the scientific name.
So yeah, you don't get drug reps anymore. Was there laws? Was there laws?
There were. Yeah. So there were restricted. I believe it was sometime around like 2009, 2010. So it's been at least 10 years since those new policies went into action, which is good.
Yeah,
for sure. It's a good thing. The less corporate influence, the better.
It just sucks because like your job doesn't offer pizza parties anymore. Just like, oh, it's somebody's birthday, but drug reps come in and they're like, Quiznos subs for everyone.
Quiznos sub? Drug reps would come in and be like, yo, I got what Mastro's takeout or something like that. Like they just had so much money to spend on this
into
stuff.
Fifth Street Steakhouse in Chico, and we flew on our private jet.
Yeah,
back here.
exactly. It's not that far off.
Oh man, those must have been the days, right?
I wish that I actually experienced it more, to be fair with you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we all like the perks, right?
Of course, who doesn't?
I mean, maybe here's what we should do. Is we should invent a time machine and go back in time and work in the radio industry back in the like 40s and 50s and just take massive pay.
We should just go back to like the early 2000s and work as drug reps.
Yeah, but if we did the radio thing, we might own like Elvis's catalog, for example.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And hung out with him and take pills with him.
That's awful.
Hey man. He's the one that did it. He took pills first, not me.
But
he showed me the way.
but what I was going to say also about these like drug increases, to go back to that, is I remember seeing like overnight from 2013 into 2014, some drugs went up crazy, like 6 times the price that they previous were, 8 times the price. Just like, what is going on? Where is this coming from? I remember one drug, it's like a heart medication, digoxin. This is an old ass medication, right? It's been around for a long time. It used to be like maybe 6 cents a pill, something like that, at most. Now it's like $2. It's like, dude, what is happening?
That's
huge. And like, how can we as Americans just allow this to take place? It's not like it's uncommon. Like, this is something that everybody knows somebody who has to deal with this, with high drug prices.
Yeah.
It's a very universal circumstance.
Well, I think one thing that would help is repealing Citizens United.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that would cut back on some of the lobbying aspect. And
not only, I mean, just aside from the pure lobbying aspect, you also have this revolving door of pharmaceutical company board members within politics.
I never even thought about it that way.
Like,
yeah.
oh, the head of the FDA? All right, well, I'm just going to go sit on the board of Pfizer or something like that.
Yeah. I know. I didn't even think about it that way, but that's kind of one of the injustices of like the system that we kind of work through already. Is like nothing's permanent, and I mean, you think about presidents. We only have presidents for 4 to 8 years, depending on.
Like an egregious example would be Dick Cheney working for Halliburton and then becoming vice president.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, that was a big issue. I remember hearing about that. And back then it felt more like a kind of conspiracy talk, but conspiracy talk has changed dramatically since like the early 2000s.
Oh, agreed.
Like, oh my God, like Dick Cheney runs Halliburton, he's making all this money. Like, it was factual, but it was also like kind of a conspiratorial thing that you didn't hear all the time. But now like conspiracy shit's crazy.
Oh yeah, look at the whole QAnon. Naomi.
Yeah, it seems like people don't vote on policy anymore. It feels like people pick a team now and don't follow the policy details. Yeah, I agree. I
unfortunately, that seems to be the case.
I typically lean a certain way politically, but I also am very critical of the leadership in that party specifically, and it bothers me that you see Republicans they one of the reasons Trump is stuck around so much, I feel like, is once he got to a certain level, the Republicans just had to rank and file, they just fell in line. And there's detractors here and there. But the Republicans have kind of taught themselves to be very strict and rigid in what they're fall behind. And the Democrats don't as much. And I've been maybe in the past said things about the way I would phrase it was I wish liberals would stop tweeting about what Trump is tweeting, or spending 3 days about did you see he tweeted this? It's who cares? His policy is not being enacted on Twitter. It's a platform to spew things, but when he was in office, there was things happening that he was doing and signing, but we were talking about the other things, the things that
ultimately did not matter.
Important.
Yeah.
And I do wish that the Democratic leadership would find topics and well, not find topics, but like stick to their guns on something. Roe, for example, I think is going to be one of these things that Republicans were trying to repeal this for 30 years, more since it's 50, but there are from the 80s there are like Republican conventions that you can find on YouTube and stuff like that where they talk about, like, if it takes us the rest of our lives, we'll repeal Roe and things like that. And I just don't see the Democratic side doing that very much and saying like
they should be championing universal healthcare.
And what was I gonna say?
You only have the so-called like extremists, which are not actually extremists. No. I can't think of any actual extremist, individuals on the Democratic side.
I mean, there are. I've heard horror stories about organizations like PETA, for example, and committing domestic terrorism in the name of animal sakes, and they would be considered probably a liberal or leftist organization. And I think a lot of people consider I'm gonna plug this now. I usually do it at the end of the show, but I have a link in the description to donate to Planned Parenthood because it's super important, and they do a lot of great things for healthcare for both men and women. And so go check that out. Oh, Ryan's popped in. Only one team has any policy worthy of the name. I just wish there was so. It feels like the Democrats sometimes have an idea of what a cause should be. Roe was that for a long time. Oh yeah. We champion this, but then they never put in the effort to codify anything, and they've just basically been playing the like, oh, we're gonna use these things as a tool to get you to vote for us. It's like, no, fix that and then progress to the next thing. Like codify something, codify Roe, for example, then work on healthcare. Mm-hmm. And then it's one thing after another. And the Republicans have been doing that for a really, really long time now. They've been doing it with all kinds of policies. And I think the issues in all the industries, all of them, but like the healthcare industry I feel like could be definitely managed a little better with the repealing of, like I said before, Citizens United.
Oh, that needs to go for sure.
Yeah. But let's see.
But like, so there are efforts to bring drug prices down, but I just think that they seem half-hearted to me. There's the Inflation Reduction Act that was just passed, and in there are some new laws regarding Medicare being able to negotiate prices. But this is only for seniors or the disabled, people who have Medicare. And also, the conservative side, the argument is against this. And I can't really fault them too much for even saying this because it's probably, unfortunately, true that they're just going to raise the prices elsewhere to make up for those lost profits.
Yeah, that's because that's how companies typically work. I don't think this is specific to the. I mean, you look at.
They were trying to get that legislation removed from the act because of that reason, but you got to make an effort somewhere.
Yeah. Well, the money's got to come from somewhere. Well, you can take one for the team and just accept less profits.
I mean, that would be helpful. But there are so many companies too that have been benefiting like crazy off of the pandemic. Healthcare companies.
I can only imagine.
Pfizer is making so much money right now, not only from vaccines, but they have that Paxlovid, which is like the the COVID antiviral medication, which was just another antiviral medication that's repackaged into one package. It's two different antiviral medications. And you just have to take them both together, and who knows how much of a like reduction in symptoms it actually does. Yeah, I
test it on Joe Rogan.
yeah, just take your ivermectin, and you'll be fine. Your horse dewormer.
Sorry, I just realized that
Not that ivermectin's only for horses.
That light is right in your face.
Oh, it's fine.
You can turn it a little bit if you want.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I should mount that somewhere.
Anyway, oh man, I can talk about these stories for days.
Well, I have one last question because I know you've helped me when I've gone in for. Last year I had some like dental surgery and I had to get amoxicillin, like super basic stuff, and I didn't have insurance at the time, but I was still like you were able to help me like get it for like $10 or something like that.
Again, absolutely, and it should be like without having to put in any discount cards or anything like that. It should only be $5, whatever it is.
Well, I guess the last question I have for you is what kind of common things do you see people like come in with, and like how do you help people get cheaper prescription drugs on your end? Because you're like a pharmacy tech, like you're at the register taking people's like information and stuff like that, and inputting it. So how did you? I mean, did I get like a friend special on the?
I mean, I would like to say yes, but no. I try to do this for everybody.
Yeah,
anybody that either doesn't.
You've talked about this before. This is why I brought it up.
Yeah, anybody that doesn't have insurance, or even somebody that does have insurance and the med just ends up being super expensive, we'll try to use like a discount card. As I was saying earlier, there's like the GoodRx that people can download online, or I've got one that's a go-to, and it makes a huge difference. Like for those ED medications, that are still, even the generic ones are like $16-17 per tablet. Without these discount cards, I usually can get like a 30 tablets for like $15. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's
sometimes.
a huge difference.
Yeah.
Especially now when people need to pay attention to like, how much money they're spending.
And this is people that were buying, this is like the same people that were buying Viagra for like $350 before. Now they're paying like 13. So yeah, that's great.
So I guess another question regarding ED medication: does the military provide ED medication?
I can't say that they do. It's hard for me to remember. So military has like TRICARE is the insurance.
Okay.
If you,
I should ask my dad this question. I think I know the answer to it, but
our military does take care of their active duty. Usually have no copay if you're on active duty.
Okay.
So
then, they just come in with their guns and they're like, give me all the drugs. And you're like, here you go, sir.
And then also a third of our state, a third of California is on Medicaid. A third of the most populous state in the nation.
I think I'm one of them.
Yeah. Anyway, no, 1 in 3. So everybody should have that option. Everybody should have it. You hear these horror stories also outside of just the prescription drug aspect, like all healthcare costs. Somebody you go to the ER, you get a bill for $3,000. It's like, what did you provide? What services did you provide me for $3,000?
Did I get a steak and a titty show?
Not even that. You might be better off getting that. You're certainly going to spend less money.
I would pay that much for an ambulance ride if it came with a steak and a titty show. Come on, put in a little bit more effort into this. Like, if you're going to make us pay that much money, like, give us like a show.
You know what I heard recently too? I have some friends that are paramedics and they've been doing it for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And I heard that often they'll just forge a signature, because technically you have to have a signature
to get in an ambulance
to bill in insurance for an ambulance ride. So
they have to do it while they're in the ambulance, or like while they're
the patient has to sign at some point.
That's the worst idea ever. It's like, why do you think they needed an ambulance? Because they're dying.
I guess it's just a technicality, which seems ridiculous.
There's
so many like weird things like that just need to be done away with as well. So many antiquated laws and everything that are still in place.
I'm gonna turn the light a little bit. You're a little dark, and my face like just shines. That's
man. There's so much we can talk about when it comes to healthcare. But basically, we just need to do more. The only thing to do is get at your local representatives. Start
go vote. Go vote
Democrat. Vote straight socialist if you can. We just tell them we need universal healthcare. Yeah. That's it. No other exceptions. I don't just the whole Obamacare thing. I know the heart was in the right place, but just way too much power to the insurance companies. Oh, like all they did was just force more people to get insurance.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily blame Obama for that, but
I don't either.
but it was also at the same time like he was trying to like reach across the aisle in places where maybe he should have just like done executive orders.
Yeah.
So like, no, I don't care about you guys anymore.
It was like that.
If only he knew the like world we were about to see post his presidency.
I remember hearing somebody describe Obama as the most liberal president ever, and that's such a joke.
Who do you think's the most liberal president ever?
I honestly don't know the answer to that. Maybe FDR. I mean, if you looked at straight policy. Kennedy. I don't think. No, I don't think. I think Kennedy.
I don't mean on policy because he's all about that.
Oh,
that Hollywood elitist lifestyle.
That's what you mean by liberal?
Yeah. Well, what do you mean by liberal? I mean, there's a lot of definitions to that, depending on your circles. Like some circles are like all liberals are, like pedophile hippies.
Oh, you're talking about the QAnon crowd?
Yes.
Have you seen that? The QAnon queen, the Canadian. She's like.
I think I've heard of her. I really stopped watching a lot of that stuff.
Unfortunately, it's just like seems like some mentally ill individual who has people actually following her.
Oh,
the
Canadian lady. Yeah. No, she's like claimed to be the queen died and she's taken over Canada. Yeah. This is insane. It's.
I think more insane than what she's actually saying is the fact that she has people following what she's saying. It seems like no matter how crazy your bullshit is, you're gonna find an audience somewhere.
I think I actually only heard about it yesterday on Leftovers.
Oh, nice.
On Hassan and Ethan were talking about that. Well, so I'm gonna start wrapping up this episode at 7. We could go longer if you want.
Yeah, the queen of the world, as Naomi said. That's what she's claiming now. It's no longer just queen of England, queen of Canada. No, straight up queen of the world.
I'm gonna start calling her Ice Road Trucker Queen. So I actually really like this episode so far because it's like vastly different from what I normally talk about, and I'm not like the most educated person in the world.
Nor am I.
And I don't know.
It's just something I'm passionate about.
Well, I don't know if you watched any of the shows this week, but I think it was Monday. Oh yeah, I was talking about the Sheen Little Feather situation. Did you hear about that?
I haven't.
Do you remember in 1973 the Academy Awards, Marlon Brando had sent a Native American woman to go.
Okay, I know the story.
Deny.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I was reading some stuff from that, and I just it was like I was learning to read, and I was live on air. I was just like, and then wait, hold on, let me start over. It was like the worst that I've ever done. Jason was even talking shit in the chat.
Nice.
Dude. He was like, I will never read or listen to your audiobook. I was like, totally. So I'm a total dumbass, but I did enjoy this conversation because it's outside of my realm of knowledge so much, and we've known each other for 20 years.
Oh, dude,
or
I'm happy to talk about it more at another time too, because I can talk about this probably for hours.
Well, and it's nice that there's some new Naomi's.
Thank you for joining us, Naomi.
Well, I think she's been following for a little bit. I don't know if she watches very very often, but it's nice to have new people in the chat too, and it's always really helpful too. I've been wanting to do a random Q&A episode, but I just don't have many people that care about asking questions. But stuff like this I think is interesting too. So if Ryan or Jason or Naomi or anybody have questions about medical stuff, put them in the chat or comment on the video, and I'll compile some stuff, and next time Pat's on, we can discuss some of that stuff too. It was a good time. This is the first time I've had a chance to watch live. Awesome. I usually go live at 5, but I've had some people say it's hard for them to get here at 5. I originally was going at 1 p.m. and everybody's like, we're all at work. What are you doing? Obviously, I would like to build the channel a little bit more. But
and a lot of people work from home. now too, but even so, it's like it can be hard because they're actually trying to work.
Yeah. But I'm still trying to figure out a good time frame. Like 5 I thought was good, but seems to not work for some people. So I'm open to like 6. I don't want to go too late and I don't want to go too early. So like anywhere between 5 and maybe 7-ish, I think is probably a good time. But because I also have people on the East Coast that I think might catch this every once in a while, and it's if I go at like 7 here, it's a little too late for some people.
Sure.
There.
Yeah.
But I'm open to suggestions. So if you guys have any suggestions on what time, just because I like when people are involved. The last 2 days, and this isn't a complaint. I have to do some more work to build the channel. But the last 2 days, I had 0 people watching live, and that's totally okay. You know, the shows go up on the channel to get rewatched, but it's easy for me to have better dialogue when there's people in the chat and stuff like that.
No, yeah, it absolutely helps.
So if I can, I will cater a bit to people if like the time needs to move to like, honestly 6 is a good time too. It seems like there might have more people involved if we go 6 o'clock, and you might be available more often too.
I definitely would be.
Well, is there anything you want to say before we finish up?
Do you have anything else you wanted to talk about just briefly?
No, not really. Did you think of any music that you or anything you wanted to recommend?
Anything I wanted to recommend?
It's all good. You come back next time with some
Yeah,
recommendations.
I'll have some recommendations.
Listen to a couple of
I
things.
just talked about that one, that Apple show again, that 5 days at the Memorial.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty solid so far. I mean, if you're into like a medical drama or just a drama, I guess. I mean, it's pretty dramatic, but it is Katrina, so there's reason to be dramatic.
Yeah. Well, my recommendation to you is listen to that Panda Bear record, the Panda Bear Sonic Boom record. It's really good. It's short too. There's like 7 songs on it or something like that.
It's like an EP.
So, yeah, basically, and a long EP, something like that. I don't remember. All right, well, I think we're going to get out of here then. So, again, check out wilddinosaur.com. I need to make some sales, y'all.
Check out some T-shirts.
Buy some shirts or some tote bags. I also have these sticker packs here. I always forget to market them, but I keep the sticker packs on hand. They're not available through the store. So if you want stickers, hit me up. 5 vinyl stickers for $10. So, yeah, check out wilddinosaur.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and comment and do all the stuff that helps the YouTube algorithms and whatnot.
Music on Spotify, Apple Music.
Oh, yeah. I hardly ever do that just because there's so much stuff, but it's always, thanks for reminding me.
May as well.
New Pants on Spotify and Apple Music, and Wild Dinosaur on Spotify and Apple Music as well. And wilddinosaur.com also has the last music video I made that Pat co-produced with me, and then I directed the music video for it. And
I'm the lead actor.
Pat is the lead actor in that. And you can tell by his face. You can definitely tell by his face.
Yes.
So check that out. And when we're finished with the final New Pants video, maybe we'll debut it live on the show, and then maybe do a little like behind the scenes talk on it or something like that too.
Sounds great.
Oh, I'm getting the overheat. It's the second time in this week, but it hadn't happened in a while. So, all right, last thing is check the description and donate to Planned Parenthood. It's super helpful for Planned Parenthood, and they do a lot of great stuff. So go donate to them as well. All right, Pat, where can the people find you? Twitter, Facebook,
the
Instagram,
pharmacy.
The pharmacy.
Yeah.
Slinging drugs. All right. Well, I'm Jon. That's Pat, and we'll see you.
Have a nice weekend.
We'll see you sometime later. I'll be back on Monday. I don't know when Pat will be back, but we'll figure that out. See you guys later.